I mean, like I said, it's real easy to kind of see like, all right, well, Drew's about to win. So was that trade a mistake? And look, I loved Drew when he was here, but none of it matters if you don't get the guy. And quite frankly, if you don't get a second guy, which Sixers for most of their time have struggled to do. And I do think that, trading him away, getting yourself a better draft pick in the next couple of years, they only capitalized on one of them, but it was a big get that they did. I think it was the right move. I think you had to put everything you had into trying to get that first domino. When you get that first domino, then you go and get the second star and the third star. And they certainly had enough resources and ammunition to do so. It's just, that meme of Sideshow Bob stepping on rakes every time he takes a step? That's almost literally what this front office did from 2015 to about 2019. With the Jimmy Butler trade being maybe the only note, and JJ Redick signing. I'll give them the JJ Redick signing. Those two moves being the only real notable exceptions. And one of them only lasted for like 5 months. And the other one was a second tier kind of acquisition in JJ Redick. You had to do more. You had so many opportunities to do more. And I think because of that, those failures cloud how we view the process. We can look at OKC. Two big difference between OKC and the Sixers. First of all, the league didn't step in. The league let them carry that on longer than they did the Sixers.
Yep.
And they made more correct decisions.
Yeah.
And I think the process ultimately comes down to the fact that, first of all, Sam Hinkie didn't coddle agents and media members who might have been able to shift the narrative and keep him in power longer.
Yep.
And he then, followed by Colangelo, made too many wrong decisions in the draft, in trades. From Colangelo, from a philosophy standpoint, I think they just made too many mistakes. And the one that gets me from Hinkie is always going to be Giannis, because Sam Hinkie's whole MO was supposed to be, I'm willing to take the risks that others won't. I'm willing to chase upside and star potential, even if it means I might fall flat on my face. I have the job security to go and pursue superstars. And it just felt like he went a little bit conservative there with that draft pick. And
Michael Carter-Williams.
Yep. And it's real easy to say, well, you didn't know what Giannis would become. I agree, but I was also at Draft Express at the time, and we got some second division Greek highlights and games, full game footage from him in the weeks. It might have been like a week before the draft, and you could just see he popped. And yeah, it's real tough to be like, all right, well, how does second division Greece translate? But it was just obvious that he was a different kind of athlete. And if ever learned how to play basketball, he had upside. And with that pick, that's really the Hinkie decision. A lot of what I blame Hinkie for is the fact that, like I said, he didn't dress up what he was doing. Mm-hmm. He didn't try to, keep it where agents and some media members were informed and I don't want to say on his side, but at least willing to. He didn't offer his perspective because he think it didn't matter. Basketball decision-wise, though, the Giannis one was one that gets me.
Especially when you look at... But here's my question. I was about to go... I'm going to go in this direction first. Would he, with his greatness, Hall of Famer, top 75 player Giannis, would he been able to overcome, which a lot of complaining and a lot of frustration with the player development of the Sixers at that time, was Giannis so good that he would have been able to overcome that because of his inner drive, where he would have been able to push through the same way that Joel Embiid has?
I think so, yeah. I think when you talk about player development, yeah, Chip England will get a lot of attention, and some organizations will get a lot of attention. I think the biggest part of player development is scouting and figuring out what's going on up in their head, what's driving them, what's motivating them.
Yeah.
And I think he had that drive clearly. Yeah. Anything you want to say about Giannis, the drive might lead him astray at times, but anything you want to say about Giannis, he clearly had that drive. I think,
and that's why I included it, because he has the inner drive to do that. You also need that extra part with the player development to help you out just enough. And there was a lot of pushback, a lot of question marks in the Sixers player development over the course of this time that you're talking about, even up until now, that it hasn't been good enough for them to have these players bring in these guys that we see where Ricky is playing pretty well right now. Some others in the past, yes, the Robert Covington, TJ McConnell, that has all worked out, but there's more misses than there were successes,
it's not like,
especially with your draft picks.
It's not like Nerlens left and all of a sudden somebody will be able to teach him how to shoot a jumper. It's not like Michael Carter-Williams left and redefined who he was. Like, a lot of times player development comes down to the player that you're trying to develop, which sounds obvious, but I think we tend to like narratives and like, oh man, Toronto develops everyone they get. Well, maybe they just draft guys with good work ethics and projectable tools.
We all silly like the mayor.